Hey, everybody, welcome to Real Life. I'm Elizabeth, here with my great pal, Dr. Katie Eastman, and we've got a little bit of real life, real life lighting going on. These are
Like,
the
how,
biggest.
how do we get rid of these things? Like when we're on? Okay.
I think we need to be 20, but look on your light. We're messing around with the lights and everything, and I'm like, am I too bright? Am I too dark? Turn on that one light. That's pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
Here's a way to do it.
Now you don't have to worry about wrinkles. They're gone. All right.
It's the home equivalent of a filter on the camera. Oh, that's funny. Anyway, how you been?
I'm good. I'm good. We just got back from a getaway, which was really nice to get away and regroup. And we talked a lot about what our vision is for the next few months. And I love my husband about that. He just is just like I am. He likes to think about the future and how do we want to make it better. And we always try to make things better. It was really wonderful. It was really, really wonderful.
I think that's one of the keys to staying married so long. You've got to constantly navigate and change and grow and
yeah, yep,
and all that stuff. Those compassionate conversations and the communication and things like that are so good. So we're going to have a show of that, everybody. The title of this show is Percolating Peace, or Percolate Peace: How to Maintain Inner Peace Regardless of the Election Outcome. Which we're going there, aren't we? And we're not going to go to there, but we're going to go there a little bit and just help people out a little, because I know I'm super stressed. I know you're stressed. I know, people are shutting the TV off or shutting the media off or whatever it is.
It's really important that we recognize that, part of our country is going to be really unhappy. And we're not going to say which one, because we obviously don't have a magic wand or a crystal ball, but we need to honor that and value each other, that we're one big community, and that some of our neighbors are going to be upset, and we might be upset. And it's just really important that we plan ahead. How are you going to deal with that? Because if you just go into it thinking blindly, like, oh, it's going to be fine. Oh, no, it's not going to be fine for a lot of people. And that's okay, because we're all in this together. Yeah. And we have to be, if we're going to percolate peace, we got to percolate peace with everybody. Yeah. And that's what we're all about. So we're going to give some real practical tools for how all of us can get through this.
I'm going to navigate. Yeah. And I noticed you and I were kind of doing similar things, like almost prepping for it a little bit, like taking our breaks and taking our vacations, or little vacations, not extravagant ones, but, just little pieces, parts of peace where we can get them. And I know we had our whole family together for the first time in over a year, because our son has been playing professional baseball in Germany. And so he came back with his fiance, and we have had everybody here. We got a family picture. We all agreed to shut off politics. No one said a peep, nothing. So it was just perfectly, peaceful in here for, it's always pretty peaceful in here, but, we had 2 days of everybody together, and it was just fabulous. And now everybody's kind of scattered again, and they'll come back for Thanksgiving and whatnot. But everybody's home and in the US. And so it's lovely. Yeah.
And that's wonderful. And I think that's another part of percolating peace, is just remembering what do you value?
Yeah.
What's most important to you as a family? And how do you maintain that peaceful value of connection? Connection. Today's show is all about connection. We're all connected. And if you're doing something that's going to hurt someone else, it's not peace. It's not peaceful. Peaceful is something where you are maintaining a value of connection, and you're loving the person we're with because we're all connected. We all have our light. I see the light in you. You see the light in me. That's what percolating peace is all about. It's seeing that part of us that connects us.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, we have our website for Percolating Peace is starting to come up. I just wanted to let people know that you can go to best ever. I'm not going to type while we're talking, because I'm not sure it'll turn out okay. I could put it along the bottom. Maybe I'll try while you're talking, but besteveryou.com/percolate peace is up. And there are 2 groups you can join. You can join our group on Facebook and you can join our group on LinkedIn. So we hope that you do that. We put this on YouTube. We stream this live into our social media platforms and all that stuff. But we certainly appreciate it if you go and join our community. We're trying to get 1 million people together to percolate peace. And we'll kind of explain that as we go and as it unfolds and so forth. But for now, join for updates and we'll keep you posted on all the things that we do. And certainly we're best-selling authors as well. And we hope that you'll take a look at our websites, which are drkatieeastman.com and elizabethguarino.com. Our books are up there. We're on Amazon. We're out there for you to enjoy our books, audiobooks, ebooks, and all that good stuff. And we certainly hope that you'll take a moment from the show and support us as authors. And I know, Katie, you just put out a big note. I put out one today too, but Katie actually has room for some clients as well, which is a huge thing. Katie's got openings. So I think that's just fabulous. Everybody's ears should perk up on that because there's no more fabulous human being in the world to work with than Dr. Katie Eastman. So if you're interested in working with Dr. Katie, how do we reach you? How would you like to have people do that?
Well, you can go to my website, drkatieeastman.com, and you can sign up for coaching, for information, for visioning, for whatever your needs are. And that's actually one of the ways that I'm directing my energy around the election is when I get anxious or upset or worried or anything, I like start working on, okay, how can I help someone? How can I get myself out there? How can people find me? I'm really dedicated to giving my skills, gifts, and talents to people who need it. That's what I'm here for. And I think all of us need to do that we all need to percolate peace by figuring out what we can contribute to someone else.
I love it. All right. So if I look down, it's because I have some notes for our show to just kind of keep us going in the right direction that we wrote down ahead of time. So we're slightly produced. There's no real producer behind us. We've got our own studios here with our like kits and our webcams and everything.
Yeah, we're keeping it real. For sure.
We're keeping it definitely real. Somebody wrote me a note and said, "You need fake eyelashes." And I'm like, "No, I don't. No, I don't want fake eyelashes on." So yeah, keep your comments nice, please. Remember also we're 55 and almost 65 as well. We are not 20 and I'm not putting on fake eyelashes. I don't know about you. And I had 2 comments about my appearance, so I'm addressing them. Is my hair real? Yes, my hair is real. There's no extensions in my hair or anything like that. That's the other comment I got. And are your teeth real? I'm like, yes, my teeth. Oh my gosh. Yes, my teeth are real. Those are not veneers. My mom, my grandma, and I all have the same teeth. So I got 3 comments about my appearance. I'm like, help me out here, Katie, because this is not about our appearance. I'm like, listen to what we have to say and what we write and what we read and who we are as business executives.
Yes.
My hair, my eyelash. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I got eyelash extensions for a while, and it just kind of drove me nuts because all of a sudden I'd be like, "Oh, wait a minute, that's not me."
Yeah,
it's hard to keep up. And no, I'm no maintenance. Remember, I mean, everybody, we have a no fluff.
Oh yes, please.
Commitment here on this show, and we are who we are. You're seeing the real us. You're listening to the real us, and we have a no fluff agreement. And I just think that it's important for people to do what's right for them. And if you have the time and the energy and the resources to do eyes, go for it. Go for it. That's wonderful. We are not putting that down in the slightest. I just simply don't have time. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have that much time to put into I'd much rather put it into coaching.
Yeah. Yeah. We say we don't fluff around and this is a no fluff zone. And
you're hearing our real beliefs and our real experiences. Everything is completely real.
Yeah. All right. So we want to hear from you and in the comments or otherwise about being nervous. So we have a couple questions, several questions actually that we're going to talk about, ask you and so forth. And one of them is out there. Are you nervous, anxious? You were talking earlier, Katie, with me about like an energetic stop and a hold going on right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting. A lot of people seem to be stopping. The energy feels like so many questions and people aren't making choices or decisions. It feels like they're just on pause until after November 5th, which we all know is not going to be the end anyway. It's going to be after that, likely, if it's close. So why are we pausing our lives? That just blows me away.
Yeah.
And yet I hear it all the time, everywhere, that there's this anxiety that's causing people to just literally stop what they're doing. And so I want to encourage people, don't do that. Keep living. And in preparation, remind yourself of what's most important to you and how you need to keep going no matter what. We all need to keep going. Yeah. So putting life on pause, waiting for what may or may not happen, is not a way to live your life.
Yeah, and I think that we were going to give people some tips on what to do with that nervous energy and that anxiety or anxiousness. And I think because it doesn't really serve you or serve anybody else in a way. But I think one of the things that we had talked about was really getting out there and turning it around and maybe putting your energy toward helping someone, like you had mentioned earlier, like random. So we're all about random acts of kindness. Because we believe that they create waves of peace. That's a quote from our book, Percolate, Let Your Best Self Filter Through It. Random acts of kindness create waves of peace. And so if you find yourself this way, turn it around and go do something kind for someone else. And that's one way. Can you think of some other ways?
Well, I think go do something nice with your family. Go do something nice as a family. Turn the TV off, turn your electronics off, and sit and read a book together, or listen to music together, or go for a walk together, or talk about peace. Talk about how you want to get through this no matter what. And make it a discussion and a family, like challenge your kids. Let's come up with some ways that we as a family can percolate peace. What can we as a family do to randomly act kind? How can we all be kinder to each other? Redirect that anxiety towards something positive. Make it powerful. Make your anxiety something that you can redirect to a purpose power. Your purpose power. Yes.
I don't know about you, but this is, for me, it's bringing back near COVID levels of anxiety. It's close for me. And so some of the things that I did during COVID is I would turn off the news hours before I would go to sleep. No news before bedtime, no news in the morning right off the bat either, and just put a buffer zone in there. Less social media, less absorbing all the memes and all the mean comments that are going on and all of the things that are happening. What do you think about that, or add some more to it that you think you could benefit from?
One of the things that happened with COVID is we were caught off guard and we felt helpless.
Yeah.
And when people feel helpless, they go into anxiety. They go into fear, which then can translate into anxiety, which can then become anger very easily. So if you are scared about anything, well, of course you're scared. That's natural, because there's a change afoot that you feel helpless about. Once you voted, and there's nothing you can do about it. So except for volunteer for whichever group you're with, or whatever candidate you're backing. But for the most part, it is a situation where we all feel quite helpless.
Yeah.
We're not. That's the thing to remember. You're not helpless, regardless of what change. You do whatever you can to bring about the change you hope for, but then the change becomes you. Whatever happens, what are you going to do differently? What are you going to do to help your fellow human beings? What are you going to do to percolate peace? Yeah. So start now thinking about that and redirect that energy. What helped us during COVID is when we felt like there was something we could do. Yeah. It was, I'm going to wear a mask, or I'm not going to wear a mask, or I'm going to use hand sanitizer, or I'm not, but it's a choice. We made choices that fit our values. And as long as they don't hurt someone else, you're percolating peace.
Yeah. So, what happens? Let's talk about this because I think that with that helplessness comes the next question, which is, when we decided we were going to ask this. So let's go here for a minute. But what happens if the person that you want to win doesn't win? What would, if your candidate doesn't win,
Mhm.
what's that going to be like for people? What's that going to be like for you? Because we're so sharply divided already. What's going to happen?
Well, we have to remember that our neighbors are going to be upset.
Yeah.
And they have a right to be upset. Everyone has a right to feel their feelings. Their feelings are their feelings. When it becomes non-peaceful is when you invade someone else's life. That's when you intrude your beliefs and your affect, your feelings on someone else without them asking for it. Okay? So we all have to be really honest about our feelings, but also very respectful of others, because we all deserve our own experiences as long as we don't intrude and invade on someone else's. Be honest about it. Hold those feelings. They're your grief. Treat it like grief. You've lost something that you thought was important to you. Now, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to redirect those values in a peaceful, positive way?
Yeah. And, I think being empathetic is really good too.
Yes.
Having, when something doesn't go somebody else's way, kind of holding that space for the other people and relating to them rather than trampling all over them with your own beliefs and so forth is
Right.
an
Right.
interesting way to be. It's
Mhm.
sometimes not always the way people are, but
Mhm.
that I think that's why we're here, is to help people learn how to not only percolate inner peace, but to project that peace outward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you need help with that, there are people available like us who are there to help you figure out what your communication triggers are, what your sense of loss is, what you value, whom you value, how you want to make a difference in the world. How do you want to percolate peace? I mean, that's what we're here to help you do. How do you want to live your life?
So that it doesn't turn into anger.
Exactly. Well, it can turn into anger, but what
Right.
do you do with that anger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you make sure that what you do with that anger continues to keep the peace
Exactly. For yourself and for the people around you.
for the world? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's just a really important point. And I don't know that I've heard anybody discussing that yet, of, there's going to be all these people one way or the other. And how are you going to act and behave and so forth? What are your values in that moment?
Mhm. Do you
Just
value compassion? If you value compassion, which I hope everyone does, then that's important, because if you value compassion, then you have to be compassionate. It starts with
yeah,
us.
yeah. As we're talking, I was thinking about, what do you do if you feel that way, but around you in the world, it just isn't that way? Like, let's say there's far more people percolating unrest than there are peace,
Mhm.
and we're, shouting peace into the world and feeling like nobody's hearing us and so forth. Keep shouting peace, correct? Keep being who we are and so forth. But how do you remain peaceful in a world that has such unrest?
Well, I think
I think
it's
it's a
really
huge
important
question.
to understand why. Why? I was recently reading a lot of information about why people have felt in different cultures alienated and meant to be second class citizens, and how that's been done culturally in so many different cultures, including our own, and how it's done subtly, and that we really have to practice compassion. Compassion is not something that you just do. You have to learn how to be compassionate. We have to teach our kids. And if you don't see the other person as equally as important and their needs as equally as important to yours, then you can't be compassionate, because you're seeing them as less than. So compassion starts with recognizing we're all in this together and we're all alike. We all need compassion. And so it begins with you saying, okay, so I'm angry because I lost, and I need to practice compassion towards myself. I need to take care of my emotions. I need to take care of my needs. And I need to recognize that there are others out there who are feeling that way. And how do I support them? So regardless of what happens, we all have a responsibility to each other to get through it.
Yeah. Right here, and some smiles. Hopefully, just some happiness. Happiness is so important to infuse in all of this. Pull in the joy, pull in things that make you happy, pull in things that hold that space of compassion for yourself and the joy and the love and so forth. Especially so to me, I'm really sensitive to politics, really just sensitive to things like this. So for me, I go, oh, I should shut this off and walk away from it. I can't do not engage in any way, shape, or form. I'll go vote and things like that. But if it all feels like bullying, next level bullying to me, especially when you see all these commercials like this and this one's a jerk and this one's a this and this, it just feels like next level bullying to me. Can you address that? That's the way it feels to me. Again, I have my own little world here and opinions, maybe. I don't know.
The dynamic of judgment creates bullying if we allow it to. The dynamic of judgment is sometimes we need to say something because we're informing people. But when it becomes judgment and criticism, it can be really painful to listen to, and it can evoke in us our own triggers of bullying. So we need to be really careful and think about the intention behind it. Yeah. If it's intentionally trying to inform, that's one thing. That's not bullying. That's intentionally, the intention behind it is to educate and inform. But if the intention is to harm or evoke fear, then it becomes absolutely bullying.
Or targeting.
And one of the things, I did a research project that was really interesting because I was curious how certain news shows evoke different levels of fear. And I found it was fascinating. I counted the number of times certain shows use language that is intentionally trying to evoke terror or rage or anything related to fear with a really high level. And I read these, and they are very different. They are a ball across the levels. You can have some news shows that are trying to stay balanced, and then others really want you to be terrified.
Yeah, or mad or whatever. Yeah.
Rage.
Rage. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting out there. So and that's why we limit social media and things like that, because that didn't even touch on the social media memes that you might come across that.
Right. And people,
what?
If you're wanting to percolate peace, then don't give those any energy.
Yeah.
Don't give judgment that's intended to evoke terror or fear or anxiety instead of information and education and think of it that way. What is the intention? If the intention is positive, then listen to it. If the intention is to harm you, don't.
Because if you keep paying attention to it, there's more and more advertising dollars that go into it, and you get more of it. It's
it
just keeps going.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to our next question, and that is, we were going to discuss how do we rationalize with what we feel might be irrational behavior, people, and so forth. I think what we talked about was, have a bottom line piece.
Yes. In psychology, there's fear, there's anxiety, and there's anger. And there's rage. Okay. When we're having peaceful dialogue, we're able to maintain a boundary around how we express those emotions. When it begins to impose itself on the experience of another person in a judgment or a critical or a fearful way, it no longer serves the purpose of dialogue.
Yeah.
So only you know when you're having a dialogue with someone, if you start to feel attacked or judged or criticized, or and you'll feel it, your body will tell you, then you can say, that hurts, that's not helpful, that's not working for me. And if the person can't stop, then you walk away. And unfortunately, one of the greatest losses for our country has been families torn apart by this stuff. Yeah. Because somehow we stopped being peaceful in our dialogue a long time ago.
Right.
And their boundaries need to be drawn around that kind of dialogue. And I have, as a therapist, I have seen so many family members torn apart by this stuff. And it does not need to be that way. But both parties need to make an agreement to maintain peace.
Yeah. All right. So what if I'm doing all this? You know, I'm practicing my compassionate self-care. I'm journaling. I've shut the TV off. I'm reading my books. I'm going for my walks. I'm cuddled up with my dog, whatever it is that makes me feel peaceful, my tea, my coffee, the show, whatever it is. And what if I just still can't calm that down? Like it's still it might be calmer, but there's still like an underlying angst or anxiousness or like,
that is a natural response to something that concerns us. Fear is a natural, it informs us. It tells us that we need to do something, or we need to prepare for something, or something's important to us. So quieting it may be the best you can do. And that's okay. It's okay. Do your best. That's what Best Ever You is all about. Best Ever You, real life. Real life is you do your best and then you let go of it, because you none of us are going to do this perfectly by any means. But you do your best. You just try your best.
Do you think sometimes, though, that I'm going to flip this around a little bit. Do you think sometimes change is fueled by some of that uneasiness?
Oh, yes. Change can be, good changes.
Good change. Yeah.
Yes. Like COVID. COVID was so good for so many things. Like we figured out that we like to work from home sometimes and be around our families more. We don't like long commutes sometimes. And we figured out we can be more productive working from home sometimes. That was a positive outcome. There are always positive outcomes from change. There are losses, but there are always positive outcomes. One of the positive outcomes we're hoping for is, regardless of the outcome of the election, we are all committing, 1 million of us at least are going to commit to, no matter what, be more peaceful.
Yeah.
So,
yep, I love it. That's that bestforyou.com/percolate peace. And our groups that we've got going on, which, I'm going to come back a little bit to that, because when you still don't feel good and, good, or, you have that angst going on or whatever it is, when you feel that way, it's hard to describe, but it's that I can't calm down from this quite yet. And maybe I won't for a while even. But I think it's so important in those moments to connect with other people in a way of like doing those random acts of kindness. So please go out and do something for someone else that's kind in those moments, and take the pressure off of yourself and think about something else. I love what you said earlier. I was writing notes down about some of the things that we were solutioning for everybody. You might have your own solution, so type them in. When you feel that way, what do you do? Katie's like, well, I organize. Do you organize?
Yeah, I organize. I have purposely put aside organizing my office until the week of the election, so that I don't watch the news. I watch Hallmark. And I'm just going to organize my office and make myself more available for people who need help.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stay calm, and I'm going to introduce. We jokingly talked about our chocolate because both of us love chocolate. So I'm going to have my chocolate available, but it's going to be gluten free, and it's going to be in my raisins, and it's going to or in with my protein bar, and so it's going to be something that satisfies both my taste, my anxiety, and also it's going to be good for me. So I'm practicing peace ahead of time by setting myself up for things that will direct my energy towards something positive. And I'm going to do the best I can. And, if I get to a point where I need to eat the whole darn chocolate bar, okay, I'm going to eat it. And,
I know. I brought up, we were talking and I'm like, so confession, kind of thing. I feel a little bit anxious, and guess what I do? My hand's back in the chocolate chip bag, and I'm like, oh, stop already. And then I said to Katie, I'm like, well, Katie, I'll just replace this habit with carrots.
Oh, and I said, oh, baloney.
You said something else, but
like that's going to work. No, God bless the people who that will work for, who have that kind of discipline, but that ain't me.
Yeah.
What I end up doing in that case is I'll just eat a bunch of carrots and then a bunch of chocolate.
Yeah.
The carrots don't satisfy me. So, you got to satisfy yourself or you're just going to do it again. Yeah. And so your body needs to be satisfied. So find a way to eat chocolate in a protein bar.
Well, newsflash though, no amount of eating really cures the angst bug either. It's just, it makes you more anxious because then you step on the scale and go, oh God, I just ate all that chocolate or whatever it is. You tend to sometimes feel worse unless, I'm thinking just a thought, I haven't melted the chocolate and dipped the carrots in.
Oh,
but
our endorphins are going to kick up, and we're going to need happiness. Our little happiness hormones are going to need to be met. And so some amount of some of those foods that give us those happiness kicks might need them, but do it in a way that you don't ever feel guilty for or judge yourself. No judgment, none. I mean, nobody judge yourself at all. If you're stressed out, if you're anxious, if you're fearful, be okay with that right now. It's temporary. It's temporary. We're all going to be better off in a few months. Just know that that's just temporary anxiety.
Yeah, I really have to do the old camera trick. I have to really get out my camera, my old trusty camera, and go outside, go on a walk with my camera and take pictures, no matter how good they are, how bad they are. Or my other second go-to is to go where there is an ocean.
Yes.
And just walk on the ocean. I know you did this too. And I'm like trying not to bug you, Katie, but hi, how's the ocean? Kind of thing.
We, during COVID, one of the things we did as friends is we met down at the beach in our cars.
Yeah.
And we sat in our cars and we just looked at the water. And if you don't have water near you, then you have a peaceful place somewhere. You have a peaceful room. You have a peaceful corner. That's why I'm going to redo my office during next week, because I want to create a very peaceful atmosphere with no clutter, because I want to practice peace no matter what happens on the 5th. And so I think that everybody has their own peaceful place. It doesn't have to be something extravagant like the ocean or the sunrise or sunset, but it's what gives you a peaceful place, what gives you a peaceful experience, for sure. Yeah.
So that's about our time for right now. I think this is really a helpful spot for the next few weeks. If you're feeling this way, come listen to us again. Come listen to this again. And then all week long this week, each day, we will stream live to LinkedIn and Facebook. I haven't quite figured out Instagram yet. We might need to do an Instagram live, but every day at about 10 a.m. Eastern, we stream live into social media with just a little 5-minute Percolate Peace episode. And we talk about a little topic for the day. We talk about an affirmation and a journal prompt. And I would invite everybody, bring your friends, bring your classrooms, whatever it is, and whoever it is, to us, to those shows, because they really help you, get perspective and set the tone.
Well, because remember, if 1 million people commit to percolating peace, it's not just 1 million people who are impacted, because each person you impact also feels and experiences the energy of peace. So let's do it, because no matter what, we all need it.
Yep. So, all right. I'm not going to type while we talk. I was going to, but I decided not to. Besteveryou.com/percolate peace. On that landing page, you will see 2 Facebook groups to join. I'm sorry, a Facebook group to join and a LinkedIn group to join. Please go ahead and join, and we will keep you updated there as well. And then again, don't forget, Katie and I are the authors of, Katie's the author of Uplifting. Together, we're the authors of Percolate. And I have the Change Guidebook and the Success Guidebook. And we love your support as authors and coaches too. We've got some coaching if you need us, which I would guess people are probably going to be dialing your number, Katie. I know I do when I'm like, I really don't like what's going on. Katie.
I'm here. I've worked with a lot of people, and
I was
I
was on the phone with somebody today, and they're like, "Hang on," and they hang on a minute, Elizabeth, and they picked up the other phone. They were like, "Blah, blah, blah." I'm like, you need Dr. Katie. It was funny. I referred somebody right out to you over the phone. It was pretty hilarious. Anyway, all right, everybody, take care. Thanks for watching, and we hope you'll share our mission with you, which is Percolate Peace. Again, 1 million people together percolating peace. Join besteveryou.com/percolate peace. And we will see you every day this week for about 5 minutes. Anything else, Katie?
No, just figure out what's most important to you and own it. Own peace. Own peacefulness.
I love it. All right. Take care, everybody.